Hey everyone, it's your boy the Stutter Guide. I'm back from another video. Tiny wrists and cuffs. How police use force against children. Now to me, this is a very important topic to learn about because I've made a video in the past of a young black girl who was in a police car and she was upset. And because she was upset, the officers decided to mace her. And to me, that was completely unacceptable. I've read the comments. They made up excuses of how, oh yeah, she just listened to what she said. She should have just listened to what the cops said. She's black. What do you expect? Like all that. I read those comments. I was sick to my stomach. I was horrified. It really disturbed me. It really did. And as of that, I decided that this right here is necessary for us to learn about in order to protect our children from situations like that one. So with that said, let's just get right to the video. Oh, okay. Chicago AP. Royal Smart remembers every detail, the feeling of the handcuff on his wrist, the panic as he was led outside into the cold March darkness, arms raised to face a wall of police officers pulling their guns. He was 8 years old. Neither her nor anyone else at his family home on no, neither he nor anyone else at his family home on Chicago's South Side was arrested on that night 2 years ago, and police wielding a warrant to look for legal weapons found none. But even now, in nightmares and in waking moments, he was tormented by visions of officers bursting through the houses and tearing rooms apart, ordering people to lie down on the floor. I can't go to sleep, he said. I keep thinking about the police coming. Children like Royal were not found after George Floyd died at the hands of police. No, children like Royal was not the focus after George Floyd died at the hands of police. I apologize. In 2020, promoting a raging debate on the disproportionate rate use of force by law enforcement, especially adults of color. Kids are still in afterthought in reforms championed by lawmakers and pushed by police departments. But in the case after case, an Associated Press investigation has found that children as young as 6, has been treated harshly, even brutally, by officers of the law. They've been cuffed, failed by gun, failed, failed. I'm just gonna skip that. They've been cuffed, bleeped by stun gun. I'm gonna say hit. I think it's hit. They've been cuffed, hit by stun guns, taken down and pinned to the ground by officers, often far larger than they were. Departments nationwide have few or no guardrails to prevent such incidents. The AP analyzed data of approximately 3,000 instances. No, 3 million. It's 3,000. On 3,000 instances of police use of force against children under 16 over the past 11 years. The data provided to the AP by Accountable Now, a project of the Leadership Conference Education Fund aiming to create a comprehensive use of force database including instances from 25 police departments in 17 states. It's a small representation of the 18,000 overall police agencies nationwide and the millions of daily encounters police have with the public. But the information gleaned is troubling. Black children made up more than 15% of those who were handled forcibly, though they were only 15% of the U.S. child population. They and other minority kids are often perceived by police as being older than they are. The most common types of force were takedowns, strikes, and muscling, followed by firearms pointing at or used on children. Less often, children faced other tactics like the use of pepper spray or police canines. In Minneapolis, officers, oh yeah, Minneapolis, we all know how that is. Oh, it's just peacey over there. It's Minneapolis too. Have you heard? It's the most peaceful, non-racially charged place in America. Minneapolis too. Ain't that bad. Doesn't matter if a fully grown man died at the hands of police officers by getting a knee on his neck for about 8 to 9 minutes, or the fact that in Minneapolis the use of force is about 3 to 6 times more. The use of force was about 3 to 6 times uh, towards black people than to white people. Still, pretty good place. Fuck out of here. Officers pinned children with their body weight at least 990 times in Indianapolis. More than 116 kids were handcuffed in Wichita, Kansas. Police officers drew or used their tasers on kids at least 45 times. Most children in the database are teenagers, but the database includes dozens of cases of children ages 10 or younger who were also subjected to police force. Force is occasionally necessary to subdue children, some of whom are accused of serious crimes. Police reports obtained for example of incidents how that some kids who were stunned or restrained were armed. Others were ongoing mental health crisis and were at risk of harming themselves. Still, other reports show police force escalating after kids fled from police questioning. In St. Petersburg, Florida, for instance, officers tased a black boy of suspicion of attempted car theft after he pulled a handle of a car door. He was 13 years old and 80 pounds, 36 kilograms, and his flight ended with his thigh caught in a police canine's jaw. Well, that was unnecessary. The AP contacted every police department detailed in this story. Some did not respond. Oh, yeah, pay attention to that. Some did not respond. I wonder why. Some did not respond. Some did not respond. Huh. Well, very innocent. Others said that they could not comment because of pending litigation. I think litigation. Because of pending litigation. Those responding defended the conduct of her officers or noted changes to the department after the incidents took place. Not surprised, at least with the defending officers part. Come on now, we know how the game works. We know how the Boo Gang operates. It ain't nothing new. There are no laws that specifically prohibit police force against children. Now that right there should be an issue. That right there should be a serious issue. I don't like. To me, that's how. Like, why is that not the case? I have no idea whatsoever. You would think that would logically happen, but apparently not. Huh. Wow, this blows my mind. Some departments have policies that govern how old a child must be handcuffed, but very few mention age in their use of force policies. while some offer guidance on how to manage juveniles accused of crime or how to handle people in mental distress. The AAP could not find no policies that address these issues together. Not surprised. Not surprised. That's by design, policing experts said, in part, so that officers can make critical decisions in the moment. But that means police don't receive the training they need to deal with kids. I wonder why. No, like, this is a legitimate question. Like, bro, you cannot tell me like, okay. So I guess, well, no, because there will be situations where you're dealing with family members and the kids might be present, and like I said, there might be a crime and a kid might be involved, or the kid might be a part of the crime itself, but he didn't really do anything. But either way, the kid might be a part of a crime, right? You know, you come in there, you all guns up, right? You go in there, the kid starts panicking, and because he panics, because again, this is a little ass kid, and because that kid panics, well, 13 or 8 is still a young little ass kid, either way. But because he's a kid, he panics easily, right? So he panics, and the first thing kids do when they're scared is run. That's the first thing they do. And as soon as they see that cop, as soon as officers see that kid running, they're gonna tackle him and put him in a position that is more that was made for a fully grown man, a fully grown adult, male or female, and not a kid of that size and or age. And because of that, that kid could have ended up with injuries. His lungs might collapse. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's to me is dangerous. So the fact that there's no training on how to handle a child is just mind blowing. Mind blowing. Because like officers or not, if there's an incident where a child is involved, there's no need to chase that kid down with a canine, because that kid is scared, right? Most kids, when they're put in that type of situation, right, they panic. They run. They either run or give up, right? That's what kids do. They either run or just outright give up, and or do something stupid. Three of those scenarios, and because of those, because that might happen, you have officers that are either A, pointing their guns at them, or B, having them on the ground with a knee on that kid's neck, and that kid's only like 150. Now, police officer might be over 200 to 300 pounds. That's a little ass kid on that floor. The kid might be little, most likely. That's a fully grown adult compared to a child. To a child. Blows my fucking mind. Adolescents are just so fundamentally different in so many respects, and the techniques that officers are accustomed to using, it doesn't lend itself to the interaction going well with youth. I would be surprised if it actually does. I would be surprised if that was the opposite. I would be surprised. Said Dalen Jackson, a criminologist at Johns Hopkins University, who's working with the Baltimore Police Department on juvenile encounters. The trauma lasts. Kids can't sleep. They withdraw, act out. The brains are still developing, and the encounters can have long-term impacts. Psychologists said that too. That too. So you know that kid, Royal? Yeah, he has PTSD now. That's PTSD. Royal has PTSD due to cops feeling the need to put a gun at a kid. So now that kid has to suffer his entire life because of those grown ass men. That kid suffers now. He can't sleep. He probably can't eat. Granted, this might happen like a while ago. It might be getting better, but still, that's hard. That's not easy to live with. That fear doesn't go away. It doesn't. Not 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 with a snap of a finger. That kid probably has to struggle his entire life. He said he got nightmares. That's PTSD. I know for a fact that's PTSD. I know for a fact. I know for a fact that's PTSD. And now that kid is going to suffer his entire life. And no one is talking about it. He's going to have to live with that fear, with that mental condition, because of how officers operated. And look, they said they found no guns. They found nothing over there. So it wasn't even worth it. It wasn't even worth it because they found literally nothing. No guns, nothing. No arrests were made. All that for nothing. All that for nothing. Fucking cops, bro. I think that when officers understand the basic core components of development and youth development, both social, emotional, physiological development, it can really help them understand why they might need to take a different approach. Jackson said, training offered by the National Association of School Resource Officers includes sessions on adolescent brain to help officers understand why kids react and respond the way they do. Executive Director Mo Kennedy said, but not every department makes the use of training. I imagine not. Kennedy and other policing experts cautioned against blanket policies that would bear force against young children. You can't say just because a student is 12 that we're not going to use force, Kennedy said. Most 12-year-olds you wouldn't, but you don't know the circumstances of anything. You could have a 12-year-old who is bigger, stronger, and assaulting a teacher. You may very well have to use some level of force. Yeah, but that's not what I'm saying though. That's different. That's still a child. You can't tell me that a 12-year-old is bigger than a fully grown ass adult, than a teacher. It could be bigger, but not bigger as a teacher. Unless that teacher's short. Unless that kid got some fucking what's that thing called? What I forgot the name, but it's a condition where you age very rapidly. And they actually made a movie about that, but I forgot the character's name. But unless you have that type of condition, there's no way a child can be bigger than you. A 12-year-old, y'all, how? Y'all are, bro, a 12-year-old, 12. How big is a 12-year-old? 6 foot? 6'2"? Like, how big is a 12-year-old? So, look, they're saying who is bigger, stronger, and assaulting a teacher. So, they're saying that this 12-year-old is bigger than a teacher. I mean, I know, hey, it can happen. But 12? At 12, though? At 12? At 12, you might be bigger than a teacher. This is where I don't fucking, bro, nah. Bisman Button. Yeah, that's his name, Bisman Button. Bisman Button. Unless you're fucking Bisman Button, you cannot be as big as a teacher or bigger. Notice how they said teacher and they didn't use the gender of a teacher. Like, are we talking about male or female? Because males, we are naturally taller than females. So, are you saying a male teacher or are you talking about a female teacher? Like, which one is it? Which one, bro? it's very vague, very vague, very vague. I think that's the whole point. It's very vague. The boy in Chicago was handcuffed for nearly 30 minutes in the cold alongside his mother and other adults in the house. Then a police sergeant released him and Art came to look after the children. Royal's brother Roy, older by 1 year, stood by watching, not knowing what to say or do, according to a lawsuit filed by the family. Police didn't handcuff him because officers simply ran out of handcuffs. Wow. Roy thought his brother was cuffed first because he looked intimidating. He was wearing a blue hoodie. Wow. It's not even black, it's blue. So because he was wearing a blue hoodie, the niggas thought he was a Crip. That's the only logical reason I see a kid being intimidating is because they said intimidating, and then they said blue hoodie. Intimidating, blue hoodie. They thought this nigga was a Crip. I'm sorry. They thought this nigga was a Crip. They thought he was a Crip. They had to be. They thought an 8-year-old child was a Crip, and they were scared. That's what they're saying. That spring, in another pocket of the South Side, Crystal, Archie's 3 children were there when police, on 2 occasions, just 11 weeks apart, kicked open her front door and tore apart the cabinets and dressers searching for drug suspects. She never heard of the people they were hunting. Her oldest child, Savannah, was 14, Tella was 11, and her youngest, Damarian, was 7. They were ordered to get down on the floor. Tella said the scariest moment was seeing an officer press his foot into Savannah's back. Archie said her children were demanded to get down on the ground as if they were criminals. How old is Ozan? Was 14. Okay. They were questioned if they were adults, he said. Now Savannah hands shake when she sees a police car coming. Another form of PTSD. There we go. There we go. There we go. See, guys, you got PTSD, bro. Either that or anxiety. No, I'm pretty sure it's PTSD. Yeah, it's PTSD. It's a form of it's a form of PTSD. It's different types, but yeah, this is one form of it. I know for a fact I suffer from the same thing. I don't know what you call it, but I suffer from the same thing. I know what the fuck she's talking about. I know what she's talking about. I'm not saying I have PTSD, but I'm saying that what she is describing, and from my own research, she got PTSD, most likely. Either that or real bad anxiety that kicks in whenever she sees a cop. Or maybe it's real bad anxiety in general afterwards. But I'm pretty sure it's PTSD. Both families have sued Chicago police alleging false arrest, wanton conduct, and emotional distress. Excuse me. Chicago police did not comment on those specific cases, but said reviews police base in May requiring extra planning for vulnerable people like children before search warrants are served. But the attorney for 2 families, Al Huffield Jr., said instances are part of a pattern and represent a specific brand of force that fails disproportionately on poor families of color. The numbers of cases that we have is just the tip of the iceberg, he said. About 165 miles, 265 kilometers due south in the Royal Helmet of Paris, Illinois, 15-year-old Skylar Davis was riding his bike near his house when he ran aloof of a local ordinance that prohibited biking and skateboarding in the business district, as a law that was rarely enforced, if ever. But on that day, according to Skylar's father, Aaron, Davis police officers followed his mentally disabled son in their squad car takes his bike up over a curb and across the grass. Officers pursued Skyler into his house and threw him to the floor, handcuffed him, slamming him against a wall, his father said. Davis arrived to see police pulling Skyler, 5 feet, 1 to 5 inches tall, 1 meters tall, and barely 80 pounds, 336 kilometers, with a pure lack of terror on his face, towards the squad car. He's just a happy kid riding his bike down the road, Davis said. And 30 to 45 seconds later, you see him basically pleading for his life, pedaling for his life. Video of the pursuit was captured by surveillance cameras outside the police department, and the family has filed a federal lawsuit against the police officers. 2 of the officers have received written warnings, according to attorney Jude Redwood. The Paris Police Department declined to comment. What they done to him was brutal, Davis said. Kristen Henning, director of the Juvenile Justice Clinic at George University Law School, have represented children accused of delinquency for more than 20 years, and said many encounters escalated from 0 to 100 in seconds, often because police interpret impulsive adolescent behavior as a threat. When you're close to kids, you work with kids every day, you see that they're just kids, and they're doing what every other kid does, he said. Talking back, being themselves, experimenting, expressing their discomfort, expressing their displeasure about something. That's what kids do. Meanwhile, attorney like Nelson Neal says police who use force on minors often depend on the perception that kids lie against an officer's word. Neal said, "No one typically believes children." That's true. Well, one officer believed me when I was a kid, but that's a different story for another time. Neal represents 2 boys identified as RR, R.R, and PS. Well, yes, RR and PS in the court papers, who were involved in an altercation with police on July 4th, 2019. It was a few hours before midnight when a San Fernando, California police officer stopped to ask if they were lighting fireworks. According to the complaint filed, a federal court filed and sorry guys, I've been thinking for a minute, my bad. According to a complaint filed in federal court, the boys had been walking through a park, accompanied by an older brother and his dog. According to the complaint, the officers followed the group and told them that if they were told them it was past curfew, they needed to take the boys into custody. Police said the boys were responsible for the fracas that followed them, and they charged them with assaulting an officer and resisting arrest. But cell phone video taken by RR's brothers, Jonathan Valdeva, materialized, and as was the case in the death of Floyd, who was blamed for his own death, until a video showed Minneapolis officers Derek Chauvin pinning him to the ground with his knee to Floyd's neck as Floyd cried out for help. Right, may he rest in peace. Valdeva's video told a very different story. The video shows an officer forcing his 14-year-old brother to the ground, handcuffing him behind his back. His 13-year-old friend struggles next to him, his neck and shoulders pinned by officer's knees for 20 seconds. "Get off my neck, that's too hard," the 13-year-old screams. A judge found the boys not guilty at a bench trial. Neal is suing the city and the police officers on their behalf. The city of San Fernando has denied that the officers used excessive force, maintaining that the boys physically resisted arrest. Doesn't sound like it. They were very confrontational and aggressive verbally, City Attorney Dan Alvaring said. A Unfortunately, the escalation occurred because of the conduct of the minors. Suck my dick, nigga. Suck my dick. Suck my dick, nigga. Skip his ass. Suck my dick, nigga. It is worth nothing that RR and PS are Latinos. Officers say there are reasons why police officers are most likely to use force against minors than against white children. A 2014 study published by American Psychological Association found that black boys as young as 10 may not be viewed with the same childhood innocence as their white peers and are more likely to be perceived as guilty and face police violence. Oops. Well, damn, hold on. You know what, guys? I think I'm going to stop here. I mean, y'all get the picture. I'm pretty sure everyone understands and they get the picture at this point. So, yeah. All I'm saying is, oh yeah, and this will be linked below. So if y'all want to read the rest, feel free. But what this is telling you is that our children is under threat by the people that we believe are supposed to protect us, air quote. And because of that, there should be actions taken to protect our children. But it looks like that's not going to happen. It happened for some places, but not all. And the fact that not all of them are changing is, to me, it's to me very shocking, disturbing, and horrendous. Sick, actually. But I guess it is what it is at this point, bro. This shit ain't gonna change anytime soon. Fucking cops. But with that said, guys, I'd like to thank everyone for watching. I'm gonna see you next time. This is your boy, the Stutter Guy. Peace.